One moment, Lewis Hamilton stood at the edge of frustration, watching another weekend slip away in silence. The next, he was tearing through Imola's narrow ribbon of asphalt like a man possessed. His scarlet Ferrari cutting through the field with the precision of a surgeon and the fury of a 7-time world champion on a mission. What began as a miserable Saturday, with both Ferraris stranded in the midfield and thousands of fans staring in disbelief, flipped on its head in less than 24 hours. Sunday wasn't just a comeback, it was a transformation. And not just for Hamilton. Something shifted inside Ferrari too. The man they brought in to challenge for wins had finally found the rhythm. And as the car came alive beneath him, so did the question no one in red wanted to ask out loud. Has the balance of power at Maranello just changed? It all began the day before, when Ferrari's home race took a nosedive. Qualifying turned into a nightmare. Charles Leclerc could manage only 11th. Hamilton was just behind in 12th. Both Ferraris had been tossed out of Q2, something that hadn't happened at Imola in years. Inside the garage, the mood was heavy. Engineers stood with arms crossed, heads down, barely speaking. The usually electric grandstands, packed with red-clad fans, fell eerily quiet. The SF25 simply refused to respond. The cold spring air left the tyres struggling to heat up, and the setup that had shown promise in practice suddenly looked lost. As Leclerc looked puzzled and frustrated, Hamilton didn't say much. He skipped the usual media duties and went straight to the data. No complaints, no drama. Just a man sitting silently with his engineers, combing through laps, finding answers. It wasn't defeat, it was study. That quiet, focused energy. It was the calm before something none of them saw coming. By Sunday afternoon, the mood had shifted, but no one quite knew what was coming. As the 5 red lights disappeared above the grid and the race roared to life, Max Verstappen launched perfectly from the dirty side and swept around Piastri into turn 1. Behind him, the McLarens tangled for space, sparks flying and carbon pieces scattering in the midfield. It was the usual Imola chaos, tight corners, little room, and big consequences. But deeper in the pack, something was unfolding that caught everyone off guard. Lewis Hamilton didn't wait for the race to settle. From the moment his Ferrari launched off the line, it was clear he had a different plan. First came Nico Hülkenberg, cleared before they even hit Variante Alta. Then Gasly was left behind on the short dash to Rivazza. By the third lap, both Alpines had been sliced through, one on the exit of the Tamburello chicane, the other down the inside into Tosa. No lunges, no locking up, just smooth, sharp execution, every braking point hit with laser focus, every exit timed like clockwork. It didn't look like desperation. It looked like a driver who knew exactly what he was doing. Within minutes, Hamilton had climbed into the top 10 on a circuit known for being nearly impossible to pass on. And for the first time that weekend, the Tifosi started to believe something special might be brewing. Then came the moment that changed everything. Around a third into the race, just as things were starting to settle, Esteban Ocon's car stuttered and then gave up completely, smoke billowing from the back as it rolled to a stop near Ac Minerali. The virtual safety car was called, freezing the race at reduced speed but not bringing out the full safety car. For a team that had been trailing on Saturday, this was a golden chance. Ferrari didn't hesitate, at least not with Hamilton. With barely a word over the radio, his engineer called him in. He dived into the pits while the rest of the field crawled along the track. A clean stop, fresh hard tyres bolted on, and he came back out into clean air, ahead of cars who hadn't yet made their stops. It was a simple move, but perfectly timed. That stop saved him nearly 10 seconds, an eternity in Formula One, and crucially gave him newer tyres than those around him, including his teammate. Leclerc, on the other hand, wasn't so lucky. His side of the garage hesitated. While Hamilton was already back on track with a fresh set, Leclerc stayed out, still trying to make his older tyres work. Whatever conversation happened on the pit wall, it came too late. By the time they reacted, the window had closed. Now Leclerc was stuck, slowly sliding backwards as his tyres began to fade, while Hamilton, quiet, calm and clinical, was gaining ground lap after lap. The difference in decisions didn't go unnoticed, and neither did the growing gap between the two Ferraris. Just when it looked like the race would settle into its rhythm, another twist arrived. Andrea Kimi Antonelli's Mercedes let go in dramatic fashion, plumes of white smoke pouring from the rear as it came to a halt near Variante Villeneuve. This time, the virtual safety car wasn't enough. Race control had no choice but to bring out the full safety car. And just like that, every gap that had been built, every second of advantage carefully earned, was erased in an instant. The field bunched up, nose to tail, and the tension on pit walls around the circuit rose like a wave. 10 laps to go, a sprint to the finish. Hamilton, now sitting 7th, had fresher tyres than almost everyone in front of him. The timing of his earlier stop, once seen as just a lucky break, was about to become a weapon. Mechanics rushed out with tyre blankets, cars lined up in pit lanes, and the track transformed from a strategic chessboard into a straight fight. Everyone knew what was coming. Hamilton's engineer came over the radio with just 4 words. "You know what to do." There was no back and forth, no debate, just silence. Then a flick of the battery mode, a deep breath, and pure focus. The man who had started 12th was now in position to do something remarkable, and everyone watching could feel it. When the safety car pulled away, the race was back on, and Hamilton wasted no time. Like a man with a target in his sights, he quickly closed in on Alexander Albon's Williams, moving with purpose and precision. Out of Rivazza, he used every ounce of stored energy to slip past cleanly. No contact, no hesitation. Next came Yuki Tsunoda, caught off guard as Hamilton took the inside line at the next corner, smoothly passing him and gaining more ground with every lap. Then came Carlos Sainz, his Ferrari teammate and one of the drivers who had started ahead. Hamilton's moves were sharp, decisive, and unstoppable. He wasn't just climbing through the field, he was sending a message. That message became impossible to ignore when Hamilton caught up to Charles Leclerc. 2 Ferraris, 1 race, and suddenly the internal rivalry was out in the open. Approaching the tight Piratella corner, Hamilton made a move that took guts. He went around the outside, a place where Ferrari drivers rarely dared to challenge each other. It was bold, clean, and brutal all at once. The crowd held its breath as Hamilton's car slipped past Leclerc's, the move symbolic of something bigger than just a position on the track. It was a sign that the old order at Ferrari might be changing. Leclerc's face told the story, stunned, caught off guard, and frustrated, while the Ferrari mechanics watching from the pit wall exchanged glances that spoke louder than words. The team was divided in that moment, caught between loyalty to their young star and respect for their veteran. Suddenly, the question that had been quietly whispered in the paddock turned loud and clear. Who is Ferrari's #1 driver now? Hamilton's relentless climb wasn't just about gaining places. It was about staking his claim. And everyone at Ferrari, and beyond, could feel the shift happening right there on the Imola tarmac. As the checkered flag waved, Max Verstappen crossed the line first, taking a well-earned victory after a strong, controlled race. Behind him, the McLarens held their ground, securing spots on the podium and celebrating a hard-fought result. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton finished an impressive 4th, having gained 8 positions on a track that's known for being nearly impossible to overtake on. His performance wasn't just about the result. It was a statement that experience and skill could still defy the odds when everything came together just right. Back in the Ferrari garage, Charles Leclerc's reaction was harder to read. On the surface, he spoke carefully, blaming the timing of the pit stops and strategy calls. But those words felt thin, like a mask for deeper frustration. Behind the calm voice, his eyes revealed something more, a flicker of concern, and perhaps a growing awareness that the balance within the team was shifting. The dust had barely settled when whispers started swirling through the paddock. What happened at Imola wasn't just a race result. It was a shockwave that sent cracks through Ferrari's carefully planned team orders. The idea of a clear #1 driver suddenly felt uncertain, like the foundation was shifting beneath their feet. Behind the scenes, journalists and insiders couldn't stop talking about Hamilton's performance. This wasn't a victory lap. It was a warning shot fired across the bows of everyone watching. Hamilton had found a way to connect with the car and the team, sinking with a Ferrari that many had thought was still out of reach. The races ahead in Monaco and Barcelona, famous for rewarding drivers with raw skill and a delicate touch, now carried a new level of tension. The pendulum was swinging, and the balance of power felt anything but certain. Ferrari came to Imola searching for answers. Hamilton left them with questions instead, and every rival on the grid just heard the message loud and clear. The champion isn't done, he's just getting started.